A marketing guy got fired for not doubling sales in 3 weeks with zero budget and zero help. So he made one phone call and the entire family business disappeared off the map. This is what happens when you run a warehouse full of safety violations and then fire the one person who documented all of them. Settle in. So I got hired to be the marketing person for this family-run fitness equipment liquidator. The company had been founded by an Olympic gold medalist, a guy named Victor. Victor had run into some serious mental health issues and handed the reins over to his wife, Gloria. She didn't exactly have the experience, but she took over anyway, and she and her kids ran the whole operation. Now, first red flag. During the hiring process, Gloria tried to cut the recruiter out of the deal. She wanted to do a side arrangement, pay me technically less on paper so the recruiter wouldn't get their full cut, but still more than I would have gotten going through proper channels. I was half asleep when she pitched it and didn't think much of it. Oh, so the very first interaction with this woman is her trying to scam the person who found you the job? That's not a red flag, that's a red billboard with flashing lights and a siren. But sure, let's keep going. The next thing I noticed was how tangled up the family stuff was with the business. There was basically no line between employee and relative. Family drama bled into the workplace constantly. But honestly, I didn't mind at first because Gloria treated me like one of her own kids. Hugs every morning, even kisses on the cheek during our daily meetings, like we were all coming downstairs for breakfast. Meetings were a disaster though. Nothing ever got decided. The kids and the other workers were so scatterbrained that every planning session just turned into a brainstorming free-for-all with zero follow-through. When it came time to actually do the marketing work, I was completely on my own. Nobody showed up, nobody helped, nobody cared. We hired you to do marketing. Great, can I get some help? No. Can I get a budget? Also no. So what do I get? Blame. You get blame. The jig was up. About a month in, Gloria and her daughter Tina, who had some vague operations title, pulled me aside. They wanted to know why we hadn't achieved more. I explained that nobody helped me, nobody participated, nobody followed through on anything they said they would do. Didn't matter. Suddenly, everything was my fault. Sales were down, my fault. Growth wasn't exponential, my fault. They wanted the moon in 3 weeks with zero budget and zero support. And when I couldn't deliver a miracle, they wanted me gone. So I left.
Now, let me be clear about something. This person wasn't sitting around doing nothing. While I was there, I automated a ton of their processes that they'd been doing entirely by hand. I set up Salesforce, Slack, a full ticketing system, and I streamlined everything from card payments to accounting so it all flowed smoothly. I digitized mountains of paper invoices. I was basically dragging this company out of the Stone Age. But none of that mattered. They wanted double the sales from social media posts and nothing else. They were doing invoices by hand. This person set up an entire modern tech stack for them, and their response was, "Yeah, but why aren't sales up 300%? Some people could watch you build them a rocket ship and complain it's the wrong color." Now here's where the story turns. While I was working there, I had been quietly documenting something. OSHA violations. Everywhere. Exposed wires in areas where customers walked. ADA violations. Forklifts operated by people with zero certification and no protective equipment. And the worst one? They had employees, including a 17-year-old kid, standing on top of the forklift forks 20 feet in the air just to reach the warehouse ceiling. No harness, no safety gear, nothing. While the older guys just stood below cheering him on. A teenager standing on forklift forks 20 feet up with no safety equipment while adults cheered. That's not a workplace, that's a deleted scene from a horror movie. One slip and that kid is a headline. There were structural violations, customer safety hazards, you name it. every fix they ever made was the cheapest possible Band-Aid that usually left things worse than before. Oh, and they bought a $5,000 toilet for the upstairs restroom, but wanted 10 employees to share a single software license. Priorities. $5,000 on a toilet, but safety equipment? Nah, that's extra. Forklift certification? What's that? Hard hats? Never heard of them. But that porcelain throne upstairs? Top of the line. So, after they fired me, I made the call. I contacted OSHA and sent them every photo, every violation, every piece of evidence I had documented. They told me the process would take months, even with evidence. But the penalties for what I'd reported? Financially crippling fines. The kind of numbers that make accountants faint. I waited, checked in now and then I got confirmation. Action was taken. A couple months later, I drove past their warehouse and showroom. Abandoned, letters broken off the sign, grass overgrown in the parking lot, windows boarded up, doors sealed, a for lease sign hanging crooked on the fence. All of it gone. From "you're fired" to "building condemned." I've seen revenge before, but this is the kind where you drive past the wreckage months later just to confirm it's real. And it is real. Boarded up windows and everything. Chef's kiss.
And I wasn't done. While I was making those calls to OSHA, I also reached out to a realtor friend of mine, a really good one. The plan was to time it perfectly, wait for the fines to crush them financially, then have my friend show up at their door with offers until they sold. She didn't quite catch them in time, but she did find out the house had been sold. Fast. Their website went dead. 404, page not found. They packed their bags and left town entirely. Gloria and her whole family just gone, vanished. And me? I moved on, found a new job where I'm part of an actual team, people who were thrilled when I mentioned my Salesforce and automation experience, people who are nice to me and genuinely want me around. All right, here's the verdict. Smart move documenting everything. Most people see violations at work and think, not my problem. This person saw violations and thought insurance policy. And when the time came, that insurance policy paid out in full. Every photo, every exposed wire, every uncertified forklift ride, all of it became ammunition. That's how you play the long game. But Gloria, oh Gloria, you tried to scam the recruiter on day one. You ran a warehouse like it was a game of how many laws can we break before someone notices. You fired the one person who was actually improving your business because they couldn't perform miracles in a month. And you did all of this while a safety death trap sat underneath you like a ticking time bomb. Congratulations, you played yourself. Now, if it were me, Hades, I would have simply never documented anything because taking photos of exposed wires sounds like work, and I'm not about that life, which means I would have gotten fired with zero leverage, and Gloria would still be out there selling treadmills in a building held together by duct tape and prayers. So maybe don't follow my lead on this one. But the lesson stands. If your workplace looks like an obstacle course designed by someone who hates safety, take pictures, lots of pictures. You never know when those pictures become your exit strategy. If you've ever watched a terrible boss get exactly what was coming to them, drop it in the comments. I want names. Well, fake names, but I want the story. Hit subscribe before OSHA shows up at your door. No refunds. Hades out.